Welcome back to SB Nation. My name is Dan Rubenstein, and of course, am joined by our own Erin Sharoni, resident hockey expert in the office, possible only hockey expert in the office, because my knowledge is pretty much limited to Gordon Bombay and the Flying V and Quack.
Nice.
Quack. But I like hockey. I'm no watch during the regular season. I want to watch during the playoffs, so I think there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way. Why watch playoff hockey?
I think people make the mistake of thinking, oh, it's around the same time as NBA playoffs. It's nothing like NBA playoffs. It's a lot less predictable. I liken it more to March Madness in that really anything can happen and that the top seed isn't necessarily the team that's going to be in the finals.
So conference-wise, who's strong, who's weak? Does it break down even shorter than that? What's the story there?
I think it's safe to say that the Western Conference is much stronger than the Eastern Conference, specifically because in the Eastern Conference you have the Southeast Division, and they suck, for lack of a better word. All those teams pretty much suck. Yeah, it happens. So even the bottom of the Western Conference is certainly stronger than the bottom of the Eastern Conference, and I think that even the bottom of the Western Conference, say San Jose stays in it, and the Coyotes could beat some mid-Eastern Conference teams.
So who's vulnerable on both sides that's possibly near the top, and who's a scary team that's maybe lower to watch out for?
I think that any team in the Southeast Division is vulnerable. So if that means you're at the top because you clinched the Southeast Division, you're vulnerable. So Florida, I think, look, they just lost to Winnipeg. Like, you can't do that at this time of year.
I'll take your word for it.
You should. And then St. Louis, I think, is actually a surprise, could be an upset. I think they're vulnerable because they are a young team. They're not very experienced, so in the playoffs, obviously that counts. They're not a great offensive team. They don't score a lot, and they're not good on the road. So if you're not good on the road and you're playing half your games in a series on the road, you're kind of screwed.
Yes. Let's get even more granular. For the people that like the violence and the blood, they're out there.
Like me.
Is anybody fighting?
In the playoffs, less fighting. Obviously, teams have to be more careful, so there is generally less fighting.
Right.
But
if it will happen.
Yes, it will definitely. If it happens, it will definitely happen, I think, between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. If anyone saw over the weekend, they had a crazy all-out brawl that was kind of in the highlights of every sports show. So I think that they'll go at it, and if the Flyers end up playing the Rangers, they'll definitely be some fighting. So look forward to it.
Who's scoring goals? Who's actually putting points on the board? Specific players, that is. And perhaps who's a goalie that gets hot? We always see this every year. Somebody gets hot and becomes unstoppable. What are the names?
Although I don't like the Pittsburgh Penguins, I've got to give it to Evgeny Malkin.
Sometimes you do.
Right. He's good. He's fast. He's skilled. He scores a lot. And Claude Giroux on the Flyers is also another one to look out for.
And in net, who's stopping?
The hottest goalie, literally, is Henrik Lundqvist, I would say.
For the Rangers, yeah.
Yeah, for the New York Rangers. And he's in the running for the Vezina Trophy with Jonathan Quick of the LA Kings, who's also had a really good year. But Lundqvist is just on a streak.
And feet to the fire, give me 2 Stanley Cup Finals teams and your pick for the champ.
Dude, you know I'm a New Yorker.
Your biased pick.
I am as biased as they come. I think in the Eastern Conference it's going to be Boston, New York. I think in the Western Conference it's likely Vancouver, Nashville. And I would love to see a rematch of the 1994 Stanley Cup, Rangers, Canucks, and of course New York will be bringing it home, baby.
That is a very biased answer and a very biased Erin Sharoni, very knowledgeable Erin Sharoni. So of course, subscribe up above, comment down below, agree or disagree. I know more than just Mighty Ducks knowledge now. I hope you do too. We'll see you soon.